Hey, welcome to another video from Skinny Medic. This is a little bit different after action video. This is one I personally experienced. So if you follow me on Instagram, you know the situation I'm talking about. And first of all, I appreciate all the support over there. You guys have been sending me DMs like crazy asking about the goat. And so I appreciate it. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, you have no idea what I'm talking about. So here we go, let's talk about it. We have 3 goats here on the homestead. We have 2 Nigerian dwarfs. One is a little bitty baby right now, and the other one is a fainting goat. I'd wanted a fainting goat pretty much all my life, and I finally got one. Her name is Jolene. She's awesome. She faints, and she's entertainment for us, but she's a good goat. But this week we had a little incident. We do have coyotes around, so what we normally do is we put the goats up in their pen at night and we let our 8-year-old German Shepherd loose in the pasture overnight. The goats have about a 50 by 50 pen area with shelter, things like that. They stay in overnight, and then Ziva, the German Shepherd, patrols the pasture to keep the coyotes out, because there's been sometimes we've heard them on the back porch and they're completely 360 degrees around the house. And those little boogers are pretty smart. Going forward here, I do have some pictures of our goat. So a little graphic. If you don't like blood, you don't like injured animals, things like that, you may not want to watch the rest of this video. I go to work EMS and I get a phone call from Mrs. Skinny Medic, and she's like, "You got to come home. Ziva attacked the goats." And I get home and I see that Jolene has some pretty nasty neck wounds. She's not moving a whole lot. She's on the ground. But Mrs. Skinny Medic was able to get her to drink and eat food while she's laying there. So I was like, okay, at least that's okay. She's got some pretty nasty wounds. I'll show you here. She's got a pretty nasty one behind her ear. That's a pretty good puncture. And then the avulsion here on the other side of her neck. But most of the bleeding was controlled. I was able to control it with some basic 5x9s. And it wasn't like overly bleeding. Wasn't worried about that. And she's able to swallow. She was able to move her ears and move her neck some, although her neck seemed super stiff. So I really felt like she was okay, but I was also worried because she's not getting up off the ground. Once we had the bleeding controlled, I went to Tractor Supply, and just for information, I know just enough to be dangerous about this stuff. I might even be wrong about some of this stuff. I'll tell you what I know, you guys can correct me down in the comments. So we got some red coat and blue coat. So my understanding is that red coat is going to help this wound heal from the inside out, help it scab over, things like that. It does prevent infection, but this does more of the preventing infection. So we started spraying with this, and now we moved over to this. So not sure if that's right or wrong, but that's what we did. I cleaned the wound with saline. I probably should have removed some of her fur, shaved her fur. I didn't. It's a mistake I made, I believe. But I sprayed her with saline. I did learn that you can use iodine on animals, but you just gotta keep them out of the sun because it causes them to burn. I didn't use any iodine on her. I just used saline to kind of clean the wound. Later on that day, she is up and moving a little bit. She's laying around a lot. We did notice that she was completely separate from the rest of the goats now. She's off sitting by herself. She wanted nothing to do with the other goats, and that was definitely unusual for her. So I talked to some friends who have livestock, and they're like, hey, I should probably go and give her a shot of antibiotics. Both of them recommended LA200, which they warned me was super thick. I was like, okay. So I go to Tractor Supply, and they have needles there, and I was like, all right, I'll just go and buy some needles. Thank goodness I did. So I bought a 16 gauge, 1.5 inch, looks like a spear, and drew up my medicine here, gave it into her back leg, and you thought I would have killed her. She was hollering. I was like, oh my gosh. Felt awful about it, but knew that she needed it, and she started improving over the next 24 hours. 2 days later, about 48 hours after this incident had occurred, she's still not acting completely normal, so I gave her some more medicine. But this time I was like, hey, I'm gonna use one of my needles because I don't feel like I'm gonna stab her with it. I couldn't even draw up this medication in a regular needle, so there again, I had to use the 16 gauge from Tractor Supply, stab her, and she hollered again. There again, thought I was gonna kill her, but knew she needed it. And we give her 2 doses of the antibiotics. On Friday now, she's not moving around, and she is with the herd. So I was pretty excited to see that. our employee texted us, was like, hey, Jolene is grazing. Yes, so we're super excited. She is back with the herd again. She is grazing. She's definitely got something going with her neck. It looks super stiff. She's very uncomfortable, but she is moving her ears, moving her head around, but she's just got it extended and pretty straight. But she's able to bend down and graze, which I'm super excited about. The kind of unfortunate news here is that we did have to rehome our German Shepherd. Just didn't want to put her through that anymore, and just didn't think it was the best situation. So a friend of mine, who I've known probably my entire life, agreed to take her home and live with her, and Ziva is living inside and is living like a queen. So she's super happy. For you guys who have goats, let me know what I did wrong, what I did right. Absolutely, I'm willing to learn on this. Like I said, one thing I think I could have done is probably shaved her, got some of that fur out of the way, take a better look at it, but I didn't do that. But I'm learning just as much as you guys, so let me know down below. They say goats are tough, and Jolene is definitely a tough old goat. So I appreciate you guys' support. Thank you guys for watching. You never know when you'll be the first responder. Remember, you need the right gear and the right training. Guess even for goats.